Love is in the air, and so is betrayal. Let's talk about Foundation Season 3, Episode 4. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass, and I'm here to talk to you about Foundation Season 3, Episode 4, The Stress of Her Regard, coming to Apple TV Plus on August 1st, 2025. Foundation Season 3 has been really good. There has been a larger sense of scale. This continues that with some more plots, but is this episode worth your time? My hot take is I think you should watch it, although I didn't love this episode as much as I love the other ones. This season has been great. The first three episodes, really good, really kind of like up in the ante, making you feel the sense of danger and scale that's happening here. This episode was a little bit slower. Some plots are put in motion. It felt almost like a setup episode. Like this is going to get the rest of the season moving. So it wasn't as exciting. It wasn't as interesting, but it was still a good episode. I still think this season is good. So I think you should check it out. It's just not as high on my list as the other three have been. So I think you should check it out. Jump on the Foundation train. It's been good so far. And all that being said, I'm going to tell you a little about the episode. A few things I like, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into a recap. So as you can imagine, there'll be spoilers in the recap section. If you don't know what happens in this episode, and you might not, there are some pretty big twists along the way. I would turn it off when I get to the recap. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler free. Let's try and get to those spoilers. So, in Foundation Season 3, Episode 4, The Stress of Her Regard, you have some plans being put into motion. Everyone is worried about the mule, and it seems like some of those pieces are coming together to see if they can stop them. But are they too little too late? And is there too much going on for them to even focus on the mule? So, things I liked about this episode. The first, look, I like Brother Day. I love Brother Day. He's been fun. He's gone on kind of like a silly, like aloof loop this season, but there have been some instances where you can see he still is cunning, he's still smart. You had a really great moment last episode where he made a very good call when Brother Dawn asked him to do something, and so there's some more in here that shows that he still has that cunning, he still has that killer wit, and he might have a plan all along. Second thing I like the schemes. There are some schemes that are put into motion here, some big changes that are going to be happening in the Foundation world, and I'm excited to see where they go. A lot of big events happen here, a lot of double crossing happens here, so I cannot wait to see what happens next. And the last thing I love the sets and the setting. This feels like Foundation Season 3. You've had some, I don't know, more lush sets, some different sets at least. We see a lot of different places, and they all look fantastic. Not as good again as last episode, but still, you get some interesting places that are visited. You get some interesting locales and beautiful sci-fi sets. So at least the places we're visiting are fun to see. So all that being said, things I didn't love as much. First, it's a little slow. Like I said, there's a lot of schemes that are kind of placed in motion here. Not a ton of action. We've had some nice action sequences in the last few episodes. So this one was more of kind of like a plot development episode, a setup episode. So not a ton happens, although I'm excited to see where it goes. And the second thing I didn't love kind of leads right up into it. It feels like a setup episode. This feels like a lot of setup. It feels like there are some schemes that have been building and now they're kind of put into motion here, but they're going to pay dividends down the line. So again, it's necessary, but it's just not as good as the episodes we've had before. So that is Foundation Season 3, Episode 4. The Stress of Her Regard. Like I said, I think you should watch. I think you should watch Foundation. It has been good so far. It feels like it's a little bit underrated this season, or maybe kind of flying under the radar, but definitely jump on it because it has been really, really good. So if you do see it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. I'm going to really quickly go into a recap right now. So if you don't know what happens in this episode, oh, turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So the recap is going to start with Foundation because there's only like one scene that happens in Foundation. Basically, Captain Pritchard comes back from Callaghan from trying to meet the mule, and then basically he like met the mule, was like, nope, I'm out of here. He goes back. He goes back to Foundation 2, the place where Gaal is, and a couple other key members of Foundation, and he talks to Gaal, and he talks to her. Her voice. I forget what he's called, but he's played by Troy Casper. Great, actor, fun character. They talk about the mule. They talk about what's happening. And we also find out that that Gaal and Pritchard are in a relationship. They spend some time together. They talk about what he learned about the mule. The mule is metallic. If Pritchard feels like this, that the mule had never seen another metallic before, and that Pritchard was the first metallic he'd found. So he, couldn't penetrate the mule, but at least he pushed back on what the mule was doing. So they try to kind of like come up with some ideas about the mule, and also we find out that Pritchard is going to go try to convince the leader of Foundation One to try to help against the Mule. So meanwhile, the professor who was in the vault with Seldon and got banished for asking too many questions, he goes to the leader of Foundation One, the mayor, I guess, and basically says he has some information that he needs to give to Ambassador Quent. Pretty much no one had known that the Prime Radiant was not with Harry Seldon, that Harry Seldon had given it to Empire during the fall of Terminus. And so he contacts Ambassador Quent, who's over in Trantor, and tells her that they have the Prime Radiant. This is news to everyone, and we will see if maybe she uses this to her advantage. Now, meanwhile, over on the Empire side, Demerzel is talking to the person that she imported for confessional, I guess. She's supposed to talk to that person and then wipe her memory. Now, doesn't feel like her memory's been wiped because it feels like this person is remembering things and interpreting things that Demerzel says. But in any event, Demerzel is essentially doing a confessional. And she says essentially that she created the terrorist incident that destroyed the Starbridge. She set it up, she gave them bombs. She did it because she thought it would make Foundation stronger, which in the end would make Empire stronger. She had interpreted, I think, from the Prime Radiant that if Foundation, Empire would grow bigger if Foundation became stronger. And so she thought that this would benefit Empire in the long run. So she did this thing that killed hundreds of millions of people. Now, the person that she's been confessing to says it sounds like Demerzel kind of wants her freedom and is creating schemes that might take time, but eventually lead to that. And it's an interesting point, right? Like that hurt Empire, that kind of hurt the overall dynasty, and it caused Foundation to grow stronger, which seems to hurt Empire. Now, Demerzel had a justification for it, but is she kind of putting plans into motion, kind of skirting the lines to maybe set up something that could make Empire stronger, but also might lead to Empire's downfall down the line, and then thus give her her freedom? I don't know. It's an interesting idea, and it wouldn't be that far-fetched for her. It seems like she doesn't have much leeway, but she will push the boundaries when she can. Like when she didn't kill Day's muse, she just sent her back to where she was from. So, interesting idea. We'll see what happens. Now, meanwhile, Ambassador Quent goes and talks to Dusk, and it's only Dusk in the throne room. There are 3 chairs. Dusk is the only one occupying it. She says that essentially they need to work together to stop the Mule, and she drops the primary knowledge while she's talking to her. Now, they do have some fun banter here. After Dusk basically tells Demerzel to give him the Prime Radiant, they're gonna see it together, and there's some fun banter between Quent and Dusk. It seems like maybe they are closer than we are led to believe. There's a few relationships here that are kind of like revealed. We've got Pritchard and Gaal. We've got Dusk, and it seems like Quent. It seems like they have a little bit of innuendo banter here that does make it seem like they were a thing at some point. And at the end of the scene, like Dusk puts his head on Quent's shoulder. So it seems like they have a little bit of closeness that was hinted at before, but it seems to be a little bit more, I don't know, explicit's the wrong word, but like made clear here. Now they're looking at the Prime Radiant and the future, and they said that the timeline stops in 4 months, which also seems to coincide with this blip that everyone's talking about with the Mule. So is the Mule going to take everyone down in 4 months? I don't know. We'll have to see. Now, meanwhile, Day goes and talks to the Cleon memory, the memory of Cleon the First, and he asks the Cleon memory why he went to Mycogen in the year 26. And Cleon recounts about how like there was a robot rebellion and he had to like quell it. But Day is like, well, why did you go to Mycogen? Why did you specifically? And the Cleon memory basically says he went down there to get specialized tools for Demerzel. Like that is where that robot religion is. And so I guess they had specialized tools for robots, and Day wanted to get them for Demerzel so that, I don't know, she could maintain herself, so she could be special. Who knows? And it seems like that Day was in love with Demerzel. That's why he went down there himself. That's why he got those tools. That's why he risked himself to get those tools so that he could help Demerzel. And it seems like maybe this cycle is not a new thing, because remember, our brother Day did seem to be in love with Demerzel for a bit. Now he seems to be in love with his muse, but maybe that is part of this whole process. Maybe the Day character does generally sometimes fall in love with Demerzel. So after this, Day basically insults the Cleon memory and then leaves. Now, Day has been planning his escape, and he sets it in motion. He gets going, and he gets his man, and they get out of the city. But when he gets there, they stop, and Day is messing with his like motorcycle, and he shoots his man. He realized that that person was going to betray him, and because they've been playing cards for so long, he learned their like subtle tells of when they're not telling the truth. I guess it's kind of a interesting explanation. But the thing that he actually noticed is that the person flashed his lights subtly when they were leaving the city. I guess a signal. I feel like you could get a better signal than that. Like I don't know, have a tracker on you. Don't do anything overt. But that was what happened. So they shot him, and then tries to cover his tracks by giving his nanites to him. Now, remember, he had promised his nanites to the daughter, but unfortunately for everyone, especially for the daughter, this is the only way for him to like disappear and at least buy himself some time. The nanites are going to go into this body. He's going to dump the body. They're going to be looking for it, and all of a sudden, they're going to find a body, and they will hopefully be way ahead of them. So he does all this. It also shows that Day is calculated. He hasn't like lost his edge. He isn't just like taking drugs and being crazy. He knew what he had to do. He formulated a plan. He executed on it, and he saw all these subtle things that were happening while he was trying to execute on this plan. So he is apparently going to go, I guess, to Mycogen and rescue Song. I guess we'll see. Now, meanwhile, Dawn meets with Gaal. They're meeting in that tea house that they met a long time ago, and Gaal basically convinces Dawn to come with her to Foundation 2 so they can work on a plan to stop the Mule. She doesn't really get into much of her plan, but she says she has a plan. And Dawn, I think, is I don't know if he's infatuated with Gaal or he just is, disenfranchised with the Empire or he just realizes the Mule's a big threat and needs to go. But they end up leaving Trantor and going to Foundation 2. So only Dusk is remaining. And that's the episode. That is what happens in Foundation Season 3, Episode 4. There's a lot of questions here. Are we going to stop the Mule? Can they stop the Mule? Can essentially like a ragtag group of Foundation and Dawn stop the Mule? What is Day going to do? What's he going to do when he gets down to Mycogen? Is he going to, submit? Is he going to play Emperor? What is going to happen? And he doesn't have his nanites, so he is very vulnerable here. Like he was riding on like a motorcycle with no helmet on. You're like, whoa, that is a very bad decision, Day. I guess he doesn't really care because they can always make another one, but that is what's going to happen to him. And also, speaking of making another one, they are a few days from Dawn becoming Day, from Dawn having like a robing ceremony. The only person left is Dusk. What are they going to do? Are they going to thaw out a couple other Cleons to make this happen? Are they going to go all out and try to find the missing Cleons? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen to Empire, but we will wait and see that. And also, like, is Pritchard going to be able to convince Foundation 1? Is it going to be like a three-prong attack? We can have Empire, Foundation 1, and Foundation 2 all attacking the Mule. Well, we'll have to wait and see, but that is Foundation Season 3, Episode 4. Like I said, I definitely think you should watch it. Jump on the Foundation train. It's been really good so far. This episode was not as good, but I think it's going to build for something better. So check it out, and if you do watch it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.